What's good, everybody? Timeless Traveler here, and welcome back to another episode of How to Redstone. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Pulse Extender, what it does, how to put it together, why you would particularly want one, as well as some additional features and some older versions. If you would like to know more about Redstone and how it works, then you can go ahead and take a look down below in the description for the full How to Redstone playlist. We go over things such as logic gates, we break down each and every redstone component, how comparators work, how hoppers work, and pretty much everything related to redstone you will find down below in the playlist. And of course, don't forget, if you enjoy seeing videos like this and you would like to see more, let me know down below with a like, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all future content. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and break down the Pulse Extender. Alright, so let's go ahead and read our little manual real quick. The Pulse Extender is used to extend the duration of a redstone signal. Low-tech versions use the repeaters, but have the ability to customize the duration of the extended pulse. A couple side notes is that it is bulkier to build and that it requires more resources. I'll show you that one later on in the video. We also have high-tech versions that use the comparator, but don't allow for the customization of the extended pulse. A couple side notes for this one is that it is more compact and that it requires less resource. We consider it high-tech because you do have to go into the nether if you're in survival in order to obtain the nether quartz. Pulse extenders can be used for doors, traps, kill chambers, Gatling guns, TNT bombers, etc. The possibilities are endless and only limited by your imagination. So here we're going to do an example with and without a pulse extender. So here we have ourselves just your standard 2x2 piston door, which is making use of NOT gates. For anyone that wants to see previous episode of how logic gates work, we actually covered the NOT gate in a previous video. So take a look at that if you want. But essentially we have the NOT gate or inverter, keeping the piston door closed, and when we hit this button, it's going to open. Now the problem is, say we have a button or some sort of switch that activates the door, and you are not close enough to that door within the given time limit that the pulse stays on. As we can see here, we're not able to go through the door. Now you could apply this to all sorts of things. If you think that, say, a Gatling gun, for example, is not going off for as long as you would like, then you would need a pulse extender. If this door does not want to stay open long enough for you to go through, then you would need a pulse extender. To show my point, here we have the exact same setup with a pulse extender, and we are only about a block further from the door from the button. So if we go ahead and if we hit this button here, you'll notice that the door stays on longer than the original pulse. That is because we have ourselves a pulse extender. So if we hit this button, we can comfortably walk through and not have to worry about the door closing in on us. The comparator-based pulse extender is going to make use of the maintain element of the comparator. There is a How to Redstone, How Comparators Work video. If you would like to see that, there is a link up at the top. But essentially, we are going to be using the maintain component of the comparator to loop the signal, and it's going to decrease by 1 signal strength every single time it goes through a comparator. So if we go ahead and put the max signal strength of 15 in here, we'll see that it gradually decreases as time goes on. So if we are to break down piece by piece what is happening within every single block, here we have our input, which is going to give us a max signal strength of 15. So once we press the button, we're going to have a signal strength of 15. It's going to be maintained by the comparator, so it outputs a signal strength of 15. But since it has nothing to keep that same signal strength going, it's going to decrease to 14 when it reaches this block. Then at 14, it goes into this comparator. It's going to be maintained and then output as 14. By the time it reaches here, it's going to drop down to 13. And it's going to simply repeat that process over and over. And then we have 12. And then we have 11, 10, 9, and so on. And it worked its way all the way down to 0. One quick side note is that the decrease in the signal strength will only really take effect once the original input is off. So as we can see here, it only works once that button is turned off. We don't see a decrease in the signal, of course, while the original input is on. Putting together a pulse extender is very simple, actually. It just takes a couple bits of redstone and 2 comparators. And all you have to do, we'll just come over here real quick. all you have to do is place some redstone right here and here, and then place your comparators right there, and that is it. You put this little bad boy in whatever circuit you're building. It doesn't take up too much space. You can put your input anywhere. You can put the input here, you can put it over here. It really depends on what you're building and how it's being constructed. That will determine where you put your input, and it doesn't have to be a button either. You could easily use, a pressure plate. You could use an observer. Anything that emits a redstone pulse, you could use as your input. Here's a way that we can much better visualize the decrease in signal strength. Don't let all these comparators scare you too much. For anyone that's seen my previous How to Redstone videos, we use this as a way to measure the signal strengths when coming out of a comparator. So here we have ourselves the pulse extender again, and we're going to maintain the signal strength of 15, 15, 15. That way we get the maximum signal strength for our measuring device. So here we have, it's going to show all signal strengths starting from 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. You get the idea. It's going to work all the way down. So whatever signal strength that we have coming from the pulse extender, you will see reflected over there. So if we hit the redstone lamps, you'll notice once the signal strength starts to decrease, it works its way down each and every single redstone signal strength. And coming over here, we have the older low-tech version of the pulse extender. The way it works is by the time we hit the button, this side is going to activate right away. Then we have a 12-tick delay that's going to hit this lamp at the exact same time this button retracts, causing this lamp to stay on for a longer period of time than the original input allows. So if we show you here, I'm going to hit this button and you'll watch. By the time this button retracts, this second pulse hits it, keeping this on for a longer period of time. And while I said that the comparator version cannot change the duration of the pulse, that is only partially correct. And what I meant by that specifically is that, so for the low-tech version with the repeaters, you are able to change the delay on the repeaters. Now, if you want to do it with a comparator, you have to actually add on an entirely new circuit. Just repeat the pattern over and over and over. With the addition of every new pulse extender, you of course are going to be extending that pulse for a much longer period than if you were to use just one. So if we go ahead and demonstrate here, you'll notice that this stays on for a very, very long time, much longer than the previous one down below. And just like that, it is finally done. Now, in case you were wondering what the point of having these inverters and hoppers are for, this is to measure the length of each pulse. And I found that each pulse extender actually stays on for a different amount of time. So for example, if we come over here, knowing that a hopper outputs items at 2.5 items per second, we have ourselves 27 items that were outputted for the duration of that pulse extender, which is going to equal 10.8 seconds. Now, if we come over to this one, we'll see that we actually have 24 items in here. Divide that by 2.5 items per second, and we have 9.6 seconds. So we can conclude that the original pulse extender will last the longest for every pulse extender that you add on. On average, you're going to add on about another 1.2, 1.4 seconds further down the line as you add on more pulse extenders. Well, that pretty much wraps up today's episode, everyone. I am Timeless Traveler, and this was How to Redstone. I hope this video helped you out today. Maybe you learned something new. You learned how to add something onto your already built redstone components. If you have something already built, you just have to find a way to just put this little contraption, this little circuit somewhere in your build, and it will change the entire thing. And of course, don't forget to like this video, subscribe down below if you have not already, hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all future content. If you like to see more videos, more how to redstone videos, go ahead and take a look down below in the playlist, and also there's a card that I put earlier on in the video, and you could see all sorts of things from logic gates to how comparators work, a full breakdown of the comparators, as well as a breakdown of even the most basic components, such as the difference between a stone button and a wood button. It is all down there below for you to enjoy and learn from. So again, thank you all so very much for watching. You all take care, have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video.